Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Angela on the Original Woman Sphere channel. And I want to start this video by saying this. Think real hard, women, on what you compromise for. Because compromising can turn into a horrible regret. A lot of people have placed compromising in the same lane as someone telling you what to do against your best interest, doing what you need to do for the moment to make everybody feel comfortable. People have paralleled compromise with making sure everybody around them is feeling comfortable and they're the one left feeling uncomfortable. So you have got to think long and hard on what you compromise for. Compromise is a huge deferment and it is a huge blow to your self-esteem. Only you will be able to sit in the things that you compromise for because, see, you weren't really compromising. You were manipulated to make everybody else feel comfortable. You were manipulated to make everybody else not have to deal with the elephant in the room. You were manipulated to give up your light. You were manipulated to give up your good sense. You were manipulated to give up common sense. So you and only you will have to deal with the things that you compromise for. Pay attention to who you compromise for. Does this person that you are compromising for already add value to you? Is this person willing to compromise for you? Is this person willing to sacrifice for you? Is this person willing to take a step back for you? Pay attention to the people. You want to invest because compromise is an investment. So when you invest in compromising, in situations where you were actually manipulated, then you won't get back anything but dust. You get what I'm saying? You will not get what it is that you compromise for. You got to think about it. Because, see, when someone has your best interest at heart and they've done plenty for you, they have done plenty of things to make your life easier. You can literally go down the list of things that they have done to make it easier for you, easier for your kids, easier for your parents, easier for your job. They have even made decisions in betterment of you when you were incapable, times that you were down and out, times that you were sad, times that you were in grief. They have made decisions on behalf of you to where if something is slightly uncomfortable and you don't necessarily want to do it for this person, though, you'll compromise for. You see what I'm saying? For this person, you will compromise for because this person has already shown you that they are willing to go above and beyond for you. Those are the people you compromise for. Your family members, people that's always there, even when the world shuts you out, even when your behavior is not the best, they will still show up for you. Those are the people you compromise for, not just random, any day people you don't. Because when you compromise because of manipulation, you feel slighted. And I want to say that before I get into the context of the video, because this video is like celebration time for women. And it's about Grayson's law. But I want to talk about something before I get to that. I was watching a video with Abba and Preach, and they were talking about a man who was promoting enduring abuse. He was promoting for women to endure abuse. Endure is like his message. It's his framework. It's very similar to like domestic discipline. To endure, make it through. But see, essentially, he promoted this message as if it meant to uplift marriage. I don't know if you guys remember when I gave you the history on marriage from a biblical standpoint. Marriage was actually created for men to protect the lineage, which is their bloodline. They wanted to basically be able to have shackles on a woman, theoretically, essentially. They wanted to have shackles on a woman. That way, they could determine, hey, I've married this woman. I know where this woman is every moment, every hour of the day. This woman is in my home. I provide for this woman. I have ownership of this woman. It was really based on like ownership. Men wanted to make sure they could prove their bloodline. They wanted to have control of their genealogy. They wanted to be able to trace the steps. This is why when you go into scripture, you see that whole, when you read in the Bible and they give you this whole background where the family started from, and Paul was the son of and the father of, and he lived to be 100 years. And this is why you see all of that biblically, because men were very protective of their bloodline, which is where marriage originated from. The idea of marriage was to have ownership of a woman so that you could ensure that these are your children. These are your children. So the initial concept and idea of marriage was to protect a bloodline. And a lot of that concept and a lot of that memory of marriage and the energy behind which it came to be is still very, very prevalent in men today. A lot of men want to marry so that they can put their stake in the ground for their foundation, for their finances, for their bloodline. It is a conquering mechanism, which is why a lot of women aren't happy in marriages, and a lot of women are the first to apply for divorce, to petition the court for divorce, is because a lot of women have been stuck in marriages that operate off that same spirit of, I'm just protecting my name. A lot of men are very, very protective of their last name. They don't want to just give it to anybody, which is why they'll have children all over the place, but they won't marry because they want to protect that last name. So a lot of that is rooted in a lot of men. A lot of men are getting married to protect their last name, to protect their bloodline, to protect their lineage, their finances, their wealth, things that they build. So this is why you see a lot of successful men, wealthy men, married to women. They don't want to divorce them. They're cheating all over the place, but they do not want to divorce that woman because this woman was with him when he was shooting in the gym, when he ain't have nothing. And she's been there since the beginning. And she is a co-creation of his foundation, his children, his grandchildren, his money. Hey, Summer. Hey, Yari. Hey, Tati. Hey, everybody. Hey, Joshua. How is everyone? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So there is a huge reason why that is started. And I wanted to kind of get that out the way before I get to Grayson's law. And let's talk about Grayson's Law and why women should be celebrating this law. This is why I wanted to do this video. I wanted to let women know about this because it gives women an avenue out of a lot of abusive situations that many women are dealing with. This is not a Black woman issue. This is a woman issue. And a lot of women are dealing with being antagonized, threatened, emotionally abused, and verbally abused, and even financially abused. And in some cases, a lot of women are being physically abused, along with even to the most extreme case of losing their lives by the men that they lay down and have children with. We have long since come to the determining factor that a lot of men like to have babies by women just so that they may be able to have access to this woman continually, even though they don't have to be in the house with her. They don't have to pay bills. They don't have to tend to her and her emotion. They just wanted to be able to say in the tackiest, ratchet way possible, that's my baby mama. Because a lot of these men view putting a baby in you, and they see the significance of putting a baby in you to have leeway to you, to antagonize you. And we have since determined, since so many women have come out, crying out, complaining about being abused continuously by the fathers of their children. Women have lost their lives picking up their child from an aggressive, domineering, violent, abusive man. And theoretically, and how it's been programmed in society, is for men to place all the onus of these situations on women. And I'm gonna segue into Grayson's Law in a minute, but just to give you kind of a vivid picture of how a lot of these things occur, it's because of the patriarchal blueprint and social constructs placed on women. This is primarily why a lot of women do not want to admit that they are being abused. A lot of women suffer abuse in silence because there is a further victimization from society, whether you are financially abused, whether you are physically abused, whether you are emotionally abused, verbally abused. There is always, after you have done your part of being abused, contacting the proper authorities, taking the proper channels, you are always further victimized by society, and you are turned into the villain. The woman that comes out, speaks on her abuse, gets double layers, added layers from society, and she's further victimized to a point of depression. Some women have committed suicide. Some women have lost their jobs. Look at all the therapists that have came out and said that Black men were abusing them in therapy sessions, and they no longer want to offer services to Black men. These women are losing their license. They are losing their jobs because they have spoken up about abuse. I'm pretty sure if you can just go in your mental Rolodex, you'll have some vivid situations and occurrences in your personal life of women you know who have spoken up against abuse and have turned into the villain, have turned into the messy person. Look at Danae Jackson, Derek Jackson's ex-wife or soon to be ex-wife, I'm not quite sure, and how she was dragged through the media because she was not giving the proper display of what an abuse victim looks like enough for people to defend her. Instead, people made memes, they cracked jokes, they talked about her, they laughed about her because she didn't give abuse to people. She was in a marriage. She didn't know whether she should defend her husband or speak up about the abuse. And the fear of speaking up about abuse for women is real. Even for men, it's real. When men are being abused by women physically, they don't want to say anything because people will say, that's a woman. Really? You let a woman? Really? A woman abuse you? Really? Men that are abused and antagonized, some men, not all men. I'm talking about men who don't abuse women. I'm talking about men who don't beat women. I'm talking about men who provide for women. I'm talking about men. I'm not talking about boys. I'm not talking about those men that run and would tell anybody who would listen how they baby mama kept them from their child. I can't see my child, yet they ain't walked in not a courtroom to gain access to that said child. These children don't know them. These children don't view them as anyone significant in their lives. We're not talking about those men that run and antagonize women and add all these layers of victimization to women after they done went all upside this woman's head. We're not talking about them because they are quick to say they were the ones that were abused. They were the ones that was casted out. Oh, they are quick to lie about that. We're talking about the solid men that we know, which is very few, that are actually being abused. Another layer of victimization and why a lot of victims don't speak up or they are further victimized is that a lot of women go back to their abusers. A lot of women go back to their abusers. So even men that will essentially defend them feel slightly uncomfortable in doing so because if these women go back, then it puts everybody back in danger all over again. So there are so many layers to abuse and talking about abuse, especially for Black women, because where we are socially, nobody wants to view us as a victim ever. If you are a Black woman that remotely knows how to defend yourself, knows how to stick up for yourself, people will never view you as a victim. Look at Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion was so afraid to become a victim and receive all those second layers of victimization that she turned it into a whole circus herself because she lied for Tory Lane. She hid. She didn't say nothing for a long time. So it just looked confusing. Same thing with Danae Jackson. It looked confusing. Black women are so afraid at admitting to their abuse that it looks confusing to you upon seeing it because you don't know what's going on. Because Black women are like, ooh, I don't really want to just say how I really feel. I don't want to just break down in tears and say I actually feel hurt. I feel distraught. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling suicidal. I'm traumatized. Black women don't get the benefit of being traumatized. We have only seen that benefit happen for the others. So since Black women don't want to come out and people tell them, oh, you ain't, when Black women cry, people laugh. So the further layers of victimization are all there, which segues into what I'm about to talk about Grayson's Law. For Black women and women having children with men, with abusive men, and the weird position it places you in. Grayson's Law is a law that was passed by a woman named Allie. And what happened was this. This woman separated from this man. She had a baby by him. His name was Grayson. The man was verbally and emotionally abusing the crap out of this woman. He put a tracker on her car. These are white people, y'all. This is why I said this is a woman's issue. He put a tracker on her vehicle, and she was reaching out. She was trying to get emergency restraining orders. She was doing everything she possibly could to get the court to understand he is abusing me. But see, what the court kept saying was he isn't abusing the child. How many women know about cases like that? He isn't abusing the child, so you must endure. This is why I was talking about the situation with Abba and Preach, where they were speaking about this man saying women must endure abusive relationships. The court system has essentially told women in custody battles, even though they are being abused by the men, those abusive tactics that the men use against the women have not really been held up in the court, because how the court views it is this is about the child. That has essentially how it's been for a very long time. So the men have been able to get away with making the woman's life a living hell. And the woman has still been told to co-parent with men who are threatening their lives, putting tracking devices on their vehicles, leaving them long drawn out paragraph after paragraph messages threatening them, cursing at them, calling them foul names. But the court is telling women and has been telling women, you still have to co-parent your child. This is essentially what has been said in courtroom after courtroom after courtroom after courtroom in the United States of America. In this case, this woman, Allie, she went to the court to get an emergency restraining order. And this man that she had a child by committed a murder suicide. He killed his 4-year-old son, which was Grayson, and then he took his own life. To punish this woman. He couldn't do anything to her because she was smart enough to stay away enough to where he couldn't get to her. So he took the life of his 4-year-old son. The mother, although grief-stricken, I'm sure, went and took the proper channels to fight to change the law in Broward County in Florida. She changed the law to where now, if a man in the state of Florida threatens the mother of his children, verbally abuses the mother of his children, emotionally abuses the mother of his children, it is now a law called Grayson's Law that will prevent you from co-parenting. You will have no access to the woman nor child. And I hope that men hear this clearly, because you don't get to use children. You have accused women of doing this for a very long time. And women, the ones that are raising the children, they know that it is you. that is doing this. And now that this law is passed in Florida, I urge every single last one of you listening to this video, if you have any lanes of advocacy, contact your local councilman. Tell them about this law and why we need to advocate to get this law passed all the way across the board. There are far too many women losing their lives due to co-parenting situations. Many men are abusing the court systems with their children to have access to abuse and essentially take the lives of either the woman or the child. Now, if you are abusive, you are seen as a threat and you no longer have rights to co-parent. Yes, it was, Hassan. Ron DeSantis. The law is to go into effect as of July 1st. And even women that may hear this video, even if you don't live in a state that has passed Grayson's law, because this is going to take some time for us to get this law the highlight that it needs in every state for the protection of women simply trying to do the right thing by their children and co-parent. This is what we need to do. We need to highlight it to our local councilman or woman. We need to make sure that they are aware of the law and how we can get the wheels turning in our own cities, our own states. We need to start advocating for this. This is primarily why I did the video, to make you aware of it. And if you have any bone in your body that's advocating, this is definitely where we need to start for this year. We need to make sure we get to close this year out with Grayson's law being in the ear of the local councilmen so that this can protect a lot of women who are struggling. Women have lost their lives. There was a young woman that was being threatened. She was trying to co-parent. She went and pulled up and dropped her son off, and the grandfather came outside and pumped lead into this young lady, shot this young woman, I think she was about 19 or 20 years old, in the chest, 4 bullets to the chest. All because of a raggedy man complaining to his family about the mother of his child. Even though she's co-parenting, she's doing her job, she's letting you see your child. They was not even in the court system, so she didn't have to be doing that. She was doing it, trying to do the right thing. And far too many women are trying to do the right thing and are losing their lives. Hey, Practic. Hey, Allheart. Far too many women are trying to do the right thing by their children, by allowing them to see somebody that is really just giving that woman a hard time, making her life a living hell. And she's still trying to do the right thing by her child. And the law was implemented by Ron DeSantis in Florida. You guys can look it up, or I can give you the link where you can get the information for yourself. But I am really, really thrilled about it. I am really happy because even women in other states where this law is not implemented and you feel like your life is in danger, if you have the financial means, you can move to Florida. You can take your child and move to Florida. If that's what you need to do to save the life of protection, because see, what you got to understand, y'all, is men that have financial means that are taking women to court, knowing they are abusing these women, the financial means may overshadow the abuse that's going on. That's why I said this message is for all women. There are plenty of women who are dealing with wealthy men that are taking them to court about their children just to abuse them. And these men are winning because they got a couple of coins. Because they got a couple of coins. We all remember the story of that black woman that was married to that white man, and this man was taking her to court for custody of her 7-year-old son. This man drove this woman insane to where she went to a hotel, checked herself in, went all the way to the top of the building of the hotel, and jumped off the building with her 7-year-old son because she did not want to give this man her son. This man had abused her and her son, sexually abused her son. And this man, because he was wealthy and he was white, he was winning in the court system to get her son. And this woman was so afraid that she would have rather for them both to be gone than to release her son to a man that had been sexually abusing him, his own father. And it's a lot of laws that I looked up with Ron DeSantis that he has passed that I am in total agreement with. He passed a law that trans women aren't allowed in the bathrooms with biological women. He passed a law that there will be no mutilation of children, meaning they will not be able to go through gender assignment surgery, gender reassignment surgery, unless they are of age. Ron DeSantis is passing some pretty significant laws that make a whole lot of sense. So I'm not surprised that he passed it because a lot of the laws that I'm looking up that Ron has passed are on the money. This law right here, Grayson's law, is going to be a breath of fresh air to so many women. It is going to seal them lips of these disrespectful men thinking that you got to exchange your child while they calling you bees and 304s and blowing your phone up with the disrespect, want to pull up to your house, arguing, fussing, disrespecting you in front of your child. Yeah, it's going to seal them lips. It's going to shut them lips up. It's going to shut them lips up. For these men that feel like I don't gotta respect her. It's just all about my child. F her. I don't care about her. She's this. All those men. I don't care about her. She's a da 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 da. She's a. All those men that want to be in a lifetime of beef with you. When you don't talk to them, you don't deal with them, you don't bother with them. You ain't did nothing to them, and they want to talk to anybody who would listen. I can't stand her. She this, she that, da 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 da. Those men, yeah, they gonna shut them lips. They gonna seal them lips because Ron DeSantis ain't going. The law is very clear. Any man that creates an environment of abuse, any man that is violent or abusive towards a mother of his children will not be able to actively co-parent. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. God bless these women in Florida that are dealing with a situation that women have been dealing with for a very long time, men bullying them by way of their children. And thank God for these law officials and political lawmakers, people in position to get laws passed. God bless them for recognizing the needs of women. God bless them for recognizing that women are completely stressed and downtrodden, having to co parent with some of these bitter men that will not let it go, that want to see their lives in ruin, don't want to get along, just want to argue, fuss, fight, and complain and be miserable and bitter. They turn their families against you. They turn their friends against you. They tell lies on you. They go out of their way to make your social life a living hell. Thank God for Ron DeSantis for recognizing the misery that a lot of these male bullies have put women in by way of their wombs. Thank you, Jesus, for Ron DeSantis. Hallelujah. Because women do not deserve to be bullied by you for the remainder of their days because she had a baby by you. If you can't mature and get along with her, then just be quiet all together. Women have been suffering. That's why I said time to celebrate. I am so happy that our mental and emotional well being is being recognized. Women are sad, women are depressed, women are so many things because of men bullying them. And then society backing it up and making women feel weak if they even get sad about it. They say they want your femininity, but they don't want to protect it. They say they value your femininity, but they want to stomp all over it. So I am very thankful. I am very happy for the women of Florida. I am so happy for you and women that are in other states. If it's real bad for you and you feel like your life is in danger, pack your bags and go. It seems like Ron DeSantis is exactly where you need to be. It seems like Ron DeSantis is exactly where you need to be. Because if it's, I know it's bad. I know, I'm a woman and I know for some of y'all out here, you just don't even want to look at his face because he's so mean and so disrespectful and so bitter. Your day could be going good and here he come. Now you got anxiety. Your heart is beating fast. You're irritated and bothered because it's drop off day. And you got to look at him and maybe walk on eggshells through text messages because he mad about everything. I know. I got 3 of them. And they going to put that label on women that it is women. But as women, we know better now, don't we? We know better. And a lot of these men have sat beneath fathers that have antagonized their mother, antagonized their children, and now they are the same old antagonistic, bitter, broke, ugly, decrepit man in some woman's life, antagonizing, antagonizing, antagonizing. They done became what essentially broke them and their own mother. They have became it. So women, black women, white women, Asian women, be very thankful for politicians recognizing things that affect our mental health, things that affect you physically, things that put you in harm's way to lose your life. These courts have been making women deal with these men, and I am so thankful for this law. I am so thankful for this law, and I pray that the good news spreads. And women, if you ain't never advocated before, if you've never done it before, contact today your local councilman or women and educate them on this law. Even if you got to look and pull up some cases in your state where women have been murdered or women have been violated, dealing with abusive men and attempts to co-parent with their children. The courts have got to come to terms with the fact that it is not a good decision to place children in the hands of men with domestic violence records and history. It is not a good decision to place children in the hands of men who have abused physically the mother to the point of disfigurement, losing herself, cases being filed, the police being called repeatedly. These people, so what if they're a father? This should make them neglectful. This should make them unfit. If they have a long history of abusing women, they should be deemed unfit to deal with children. It is literally sad that it took this long for the courts to realize if a man is abusing women, he is not fit to be around children. He is not fit to be around children. If he has a long history, paperwork at the paperwork at the paperwork, he is not fit. And a lot of these men are gaining access to children. And don't let them have a couple of dollars. They will go to court and fight. So thank God for Ron DeSantis. Like I said, if you are watching this video, contact your local councilman, councilwoman, attempt to have a conversation, just pass on the information, even email it to educate them on the law and how it will benefit the community, how it will benefit the children, for the mothers to have a layer of protection to where they no longer are forced to be in situations where they can potentially lose their lives, and so can their children. This is Woman Sphere. You guys enjoy your day. Everyone have a blessed day, and you guys be easy.